Welcome to Permission to Thrive. I'm your host, Suzi Lula. As a spiritual therapist for over 20 years, I have the honor and privilege of ushering women and mothers just like you on a journey from simply surviving to powerfully thriving. I also have the honor of raising our son, Will, who is now a young adult, with my longtime partner, Jamie, so I'm right there on the journey with you. Consider this your personal sanctuary, your space to meet your heart, embrace your messy, and come home to your most authentic, extraordinary self. My hope is that you leave resourced and inspired because you are here to shine. Welcome to Permission to Thrive. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's solo episode of Permission to Thrive. So this is going to be a very spontaneous and probably very messy solo episode dedicated to processing our emotions around the war, the genocide that is happening in Israel and Gaza. I've spoken to so many individuals who are just challenged with processing these intense emotions. I myself am gutted, heartbroken, and I'm sure many of you share many of these intense emotions. So my intention today is simply to provide us some tools to process some of the intense emotions that are present for most of us. My intention is not to offend anyone, so please listen if it's bringing you a sense of solace, and please stop listening if it isn't. My intention is not to offend. My intention is simply to offer some ways of being and some ways to process some of the intense emotions that most of us are feeling right now. And I'm going to speak very personally, very candidly, and in a very unfiltered way. I don't want to have to be thinking and conscious of my words. This is really an episode that's coming from my heart to your heart, from my heart to the heart of humanity, because as individually heartbroken as we each and all are, our collective humanity is just gutted as well. So take what works for you and please leave the rest behind. If this isn't feeding you, if this isn't leaving you soul satisfied and a sense of nourishment in the midst of everything that's going on, please just leave it today. So again, my intention is not to offend, to create any kind of distance or disconnection. It's actually the opposite, just to speak from my heart and assist us to process some of what you might be feeling in your own life around this situation. So, oh my gosh, there is so much divisiveness occurring right now that I believe we're all in need of a safe haven to process our emotional material in order to truly process trauma, which is what we are all going through right now. We need a safe space. So this space is meant to be a safe haven for you. And if it is, please continue to listen. Again, if it isn't, just let this not be your week to listen. I have spoken to so many people, and granted, you all must hear, I'm speaking from the luxury of being in Los Angeles, in the United States. We're seemingly safe. It's so easy to speak from this space when people are not safe right now. So I'm very well aware of my privilege. Just to give you some context, I was raised Jewish, Reformed, and much more connected to the mystical side of Judaism rather than the religious side of Judaism. I've always been very mystically oriented to begin with. And then as an adult, now with a full thriving practice, I have clients from all over the world. So I have truly come to know that we are all so much more alike than we are different. And it's been my experience in speaking with friends and clients that most ordinary, quote, normal citizens, we all want peace. And we all want to wake up knowing that our children are safe. But when there's a war going on, it is the innocent people who are the victims. It is the innocent people who are victimized. When there's a war going on, our individual and collective humanity is threatened. Our individual and collective humanity is being traumatized in real time. And we are catapulted into a grieving process. And this is what I believe we're all in right now. We're in shock. We're feeling intense anger, rage, some of us. For so many different reasons, we are experiencing individual and collective anger. And as a culture, we aren't taught how to be present with anger. We aren't taught how to be present with rage. And so we are projecting it onto each other. So if some of you are speaking up with your girlfriends or friends or colleagues, you may be experiencing receiving the projected anger back onto you. You may be someone who is feeling threatened, and so you're projecting anger onto others. It's also very understandable because none of us have been taught how to process anger and rage. And whenever there are innocent people and lives being lost, we should be angry and feel enraged. This is a natural response and one that we actually should be feeling. We just haven't been taught how to, in a healthy way, channel that anger and rage. And so we are very unconsciously projecting it onto others, and some of us are having that anger and rage projected onto us, and that is very disconcerting. So I know I have had individuals and really anyone who is speaking out is being asked to take a side. And that is also very understandable. We all should be taking the side of no one can condone genocide. When we have gotten to the point as a humanity where children are being killed, that is the time we as a humanity need to speak up, express ourselves. This must stop. This must stop now. Children have been being killed before this has come to our attention. So we, quote, should have been speaking up for a long time now. Now is the time because it's happening now. So we all must unify, no matter what, quote, side you're on. We must unify to say no more killing of anyone, much less we must look at ourselves in the mirror when we are at a point as a society where we are now killing children. So this is my personal opinion. Take it, leave it, take what works, let the rest go. I believe that governments do profit off of war. And there are governments right now who want us to be distracted, being angry, and projecting our anger onto each other. Hence, take a side, take a side, take a side. Meanwhile, the institutions that are profiting off of war can go on profiting off of war because we are divided amongst ourselves. We are distracted. And I believe that it's time for us to unify our voices to say to any government, any entity, terrorist or government, that it's not okay to kill innocent children. Lands have been appropriated. There has been colonization. Just yesterday or the other day, I was hosting in my own home a group of my soul care coaches. And I live in Los Angeles. And one of our coaches was talking about how in Los Angeles itself, Dodger Stadium was once Mexican land. And that Mexican land was appropriated. And because that Mexican land was appropriated, it left her, generationally speaking, feeling unworthy because her heritage wasn't even, quote, worthy of having their own land. So when these things are happening, it leaves us with trauma, with wounding, with inaccurate belief systems about who we are, about what in the heck is happening on planet Earth. And the thing about appropriation and colonization is that when we begin to admit that this is what's happening, then we need as people to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask, what are we going to do about it? And so governments, terrorists, whomever you want to put in an authoritative position, don't want to look at what's happening, because then we will all be called to repair, to do something about it. And so it is my belief that those who are profiting off of war want us fighting amongst ourselves. And that, besides the guttedness and the heartbreak that I'm feeling just thinking about mothers worried about their children, worried about their husbands, spouses, brothers, in-laws, cousins, coming home safe, waking up the next morning safe. Besides all of that, the reason I feel that I need to speak up is because governments want us distracted. Governments want us at odds with each other. So there is an opportunity here for us to unify ourselves, because what I know in Israel, there are very, very, very few women in leadership positions right now. And so as a woman, I'm speaking up because I believe that women, mothers, we're not going to stand for my child being killed or my neighbor's child or a so-called, quote, enemy's child. Any child, every child deserves to live. Every one of us wants to wake up safe the next day. There are solutions on the table right now. But again, I believe that the, quote, powers that be, those who are profiting, don't want us looking at the solutions, because then there will be solutions. And research will show you, it's documented, that the majority of individuals in both Israel and Gaza, most individuals want peace, want to wake up knowing that they are safe, that their children are safe, that they are secure. That is what I want in Los Angeles. That is what someone wants in South America. That is what someone wants in Canada, South Africa, Scandinavia. We all want the same things: to live our life in peace and safety and security, so that we can live the life we came here to live. So with all of this said, then, what do we do with all of this emotion? Whether you, quote, agree with what I'm saying or disagree with what I'm saying is so much less relevant, because every one of us has a very justified view, a very justified perception, because we've all come from our own experiences. And our emotions, though, can act to either separate us further or unify us. So how can we sit with anger and outrage? How can we sit with our own discomfort and use it to unify ourselves both inwardly and externally with each other? I know that I have spent years of my life dedicating myself to being at peace with all the different aspects of my own inner being, to not be at war, to not be in conflict with the aspects of my own being. Now that is a life journey. It's a life journey. And it sounds so cliche during these times right now to say peace begins with me. But I do believe peace begins with me. So it begins by asking ourselves if we are feeling angry, if we are feeling outrage, if we are feeling powerless, helpless, if we are feeling judgment, if we are feeling so many emotions that we don't even know what to feel, how to sit with what we are feeling and ask ourselves, what are the messages here that are meant for us to receive? What are the messages that are here for me to receive in all of this? What is here for me to learn about myself? What is here for me that I may have a takeaway so that I may transform, I may heal, I may elevate my consciousness so that I can be a benevolent energy, so that I can be a benevolent presence? Because the more that I can come into a place of inner self-acceptance, inner alignment, inner peace, then the more able I will be to hold a space for someone else who isn't there yet. And so I'm seeking to sit with everything that is uncomfortable within me. I've learned so much by seeking to try to educate myself in this, and there's so much more to learn. That's why I'm saying, please don't listen to my opinions. They're just from my very, very limited perspective and life experience. But what unifies us all is that we're all feeling something because we're human beings, and it is unfathomable to believe that this is happening right now in 2023. So what we all share is the processing of the emotions. So I'm asking myself, what am I feeling? I've been feeling very nervous about speaking out because I know that no matter what I say, I will probably offend someone. And I know that that is not my intention, but I know that when emotions are high, it's just like in parenting. When emotions are high, that is not the time to try to speak rationally to my son. When my son was 5 or a toddler and he's in the midst of his big feelings, that is a time that me saying something would probably offend him, would probably not be helpful. So this choice of speaking up and seeking to offer us something may be a double-edged sword, because the last thing I want to do is being offensive to anyone. And yet, if there's one thing that I know I can offer on planet Earth, it is how to sit with our own emotions so that we can keep our inner house in order. Remember, a house divided cannot stand. A culture divided cannot stand. An earth, a globe divided cannot stand. So how do I start with my inner house and get my own house in order? By saying, it's so understandable that I would be feeling angry. It's so understandable that I would be feeling outraged. It's so understandable that I would be feeling helpless. It's so understandable that I would be nervous about offending someone. It's so understandable that I may be feeling powerless. These are all very understandable emotions. What am I here to learn from what is happening in my own nervous system? What am I here to learn about myself, about my own soul's path, about my own soul's journey? And then how can I use what I'm learning to be assistful to someone else who might be hurting? And so the last thing that I would like to say and leave you all with is a meditation. I think that the greatest thing that we can each and all be doing right now is to take some time in the stillness. If there was ever a time to be still with ourselves so that we can not only process our own emotions, but begin to hear the wisdom that is prompting us and calling us. Each one of you within you has a wisdom, and it is seeking to be heard. And for some, it's prompting us into action. For some, it's prompting us to be a voice. For some, it's prompting us to be very still. For some, it's prompting us to heal in our own family. For some, it's prompting us to heal in our community. So it is incumbent upon us to spend some time. We owe it to the people who don't have this luxury right now to get very still and hear what is mine to do. And so I'm inviting us all to take a moment. Let's just collectively take a moment. If it feels right to you, please close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and let's unify ourselves by taking a nice, deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. Deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. And so we just take a moment right where we are to become still, to recognize that right where you are safe in your own consciousness. You are safe in your own heart. May your own heart be your refuge in this moment. May your own heart be a safe haven in this moment. May your own heart be a safe space. May your own heart be calling you, and may you rest in the safety, in the love that is present in your own heart. This is a moment we are intending to connect deeply with the loving presence that is within our heart, with the depths of compassion that our soul is able to exert and experience. If there is ever a time to feel heartbreakingly compassionate, it is right now. Unbearable compassion, inner acceptance. The more deeply we can accept every aspect of our own being, shadow and all, is to the degree that we will be able to accept someone seemingly different than ourselves with different opinions. So we are each and all willing to experience right now in this moment inner unification, an inner acceptance of all the different parts of ourselves. I am willing to accept all the different parts of myself right now, the ugly ones, the messy ones, the ones that are scared that none of you will listen to this podcast ever again, the ones of you that might feel angry back at me. I'm willing to accept and embrace all the tender, fragile, vulnerable parts of myself so that I may stand unified in my own consciousness, so that perhaps I may be offering a safe haven to someone else. And so I know that right now you are safe in your own heart, in your own being. And it is from this place of deep inner unification that we then hold the hearts and the heartbreak of those all around the world, anywhere around the world that is experiencing heartbreak right now. Anyone who has lost a friend, lost a brother, lost a husband, lost a child, anyone who is fearing for their life right now, anyone who is feeling helpless, powerless, anyone who is in danger right now, anyone who feels threatened and insecure right now. May we, through this collective energy, offer solace, offer a safe space, offer an intentionality, an energy of peace. Peace is a mighty, powerful energy, and it is available as we unify into its powerful presence. It is more powerful than anything that can separate us. Peace is a dynamic energy of unification. Peace has the potentiality to unify even the most diverse of opinions and experiences and perceptions. Peace is available in my heart right now. Peace is available in your heart right now. Peace is available in the collective heart of humanity right now. And it is incumbent upon us to reach for this peace, to settle into this peace, to be committed to connecting with this peace on a daily basis so that we can be a beneficial presence in our lives. And so we simply ask, what is mine? What am I here to learn? What am I here to bring? What is mine to do? And we listen. And we listen. And we listen. We offer up our upset. We offer up our anger, our rage. We channel it and we allow it to be channeled for good. How am I being called to channel my emotions into good? What good is here that I can offer, that I can contribute? And then whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes. I am deeply grateful for anyone who has made it to the end and is still listening. I am deeply grateful if this has brought you any kind of moment of clarity, that you can use this to go into your lives and be that benevolent presence in your world, in your relationships with the individuals that you love. And if you are being called to speak out for something, Mother Teresa always said, don't ever ask me to go to an anti-war rally, but I will always be first in line for a pro-peace rally. That does not mean that we need not be fully self-expressed, fully outspoken. Outspoken we must be, but let us be outspoken for something rather than against something, because it allows us to inhabit a higher vibration, and the highest vibration we can bring, the most effective our voices will be. So much love, everyone. Please give yourselves permission to thrive this week. If there was ever a week that humanity needs you, it is now. I am deeply grateful. Please leave me any kind of comments if this has been helpful to you. And I will do more meditations as the weeks go by. So much love, everyone. Until next week, give yourselves that permission to thrive. Thank you so much for listening. If there was something in this conversation that spoke to you, we'd so appreciate it if you would take the time to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with women and mothers you know, because you are here to thrive. See you next time.